This is the Survey of the French. Start with E4. This is the Schlechter variation. The Alpin and the Exchange. This is the Svenonius variation. And extended through as the Bogolyubov variation. This again is the advance. This is the Steinitz variation of the advance. Or the Nimzovich variation. Or the Nimzovich system. Advanced variation with C3 and extended through as the Wade variation. There's also a Knight C6 variation. This is the Milner-Berry gambit of the advance. The Uvi variation of the advance. It's the Tarrasch. And all Tarrasch lines are characterized by that knight move to D2. That's extended through to the Haberditz variation, or the Guimard variation. This is the Tarrasch closed variation, or the Tarrasch-Guimard mainline extended through. It's the Tarrasch-Guimard mainline then. This is the Botvinnik variation of the Tarrasch. There's the Tarrasch closed with knight to C6. And that last is the Leningrad extension. Right there. So again, with the Leningrad, this is the open variation of the Tarrasch. Extended through as the Iliskasis variation. Another option. So back again to Iliskasis. It's the open variation main line of the Tarrasch. This is the Paulson variation. Extended through as the Marshall. Or the Rubinstein. This is the Rubinstein variation. Extended through is the Fort Knox variation. This is the Capablanca line. And the Fort Knox variation extending. This is the Frere or Becker variation. This is the Swiss variation. Or the Hindenburger. Or the Steinitz. This is the Bradford attack of the Steinitz. Notice again how Steinitz variation starts, differs from the Tarrasch, and then instead of that knight going to D2, it goes to C3. Slightly more aggressive. Extending through as part of the Bradford attack then. Now, the variation of this is the Steinitz. There. This is the Brodsky-Jones variation of the Steinitz. This is the Steinitz variation. Boleslavsky variation extended. This is the Gledhill attack of the Steinitz. This is the Bern variation. Or the McCutcheon variation. This is the McCutcheon Bogolyubov variation. This is the advanced variation of the McCutcheon. This is the Chigorin variation of the McCutcheon. And the Grigoriev variation extended. This is the Bronstein variation of the McCutcheon. Or the Janowski. I guess that was the Dr. Holland or the Dutch. This is the Janowski. So essentially, the choices are when threatened, with that, either this, this, or that. This is the Tartakower variation of the McCutcheon. Or the Lasker variation. This is the Duras variation of the McCutcheon. and the Lasker variation. This is the classical. And extended through as the Anderson variation. This is the Anderson-Richter variation of the classical. This is the Vistenakis-Nimzowitsch variation of the classical. More the Tartakower or the Frankfurt. This is the Albin-Alekhine Chetard or Chetard attack. The Morozzi variation. The Techman variation. Or the Spielmann, which is Castles. Again, the classical variation. The Tarrasch variation of the classical. Or the Rubinstein. Or the Alpin, or the Pollock. This is the Steinitz variation of the classical. And the Stahlberg variation. This is the Winower, the Nimzowitsch variation. And the Kondratiev variation. Or we can go back at the fourth move. That's the finger slip and the Morozzi gambit. This is the Winower, the Alekhine gambit, the Alatortsev variation. This is the Winower, Alekhine gambit. The Kahn variation extends. So the Winower Alekhine gambit ends with that, and the Kahn extends through. The advanced variation of the Winower extended through is the Petrosian, or the advance. Now, this would be the Bogolyov extension of that. This is the Winower Advance, the Russian variation. This is the Winower Advance with fifth move at A3. The Rouser variation extended. It's the advanced variation of the winnower. And the classical winnower extends. Or the knight to e7 advance. It's the winnower advance Smyslov variation. Or the positional mainline advance. Or the poison to pawn advance. This is the winnower advance, poison to pawn, the Uwe-Gligoric variation. Or the Konstantinopolsky variation at the end. Again, the French starts with, and then we're back where we started. Thank you.